This is how our sort of like Zoom calls always go. We like start talking about the most randomest things. Those conversations actually like take us in the most craziest of like artistic journeys. I think both of us put on this weird presentation when we know there's like a recording going. Do you have anything you want to share? I have a few things I want to share, but I'll ask you first.
I want to hear the things you have to say.
Okay, well,
Please.
you're just gonna go straight into it. But no, well, I guess the first thing on my mind right now is definitely the Galverse anime. They just announced hour this morning, so like middle of the night your time, that the anime is officially going to be launched on the 25th of June. Super exciting. Like it just feels so real now, and it is literally around the corner. And we've just been talking about it for so long, and it's here. It's going to happen, and people are going to be able to watch it. So it'll be exciting to sort of see. And they also announced like the second batch of voice actors who've been sort of working for a very long time as well in the industry. So it's been really fun sort of watching comments on like X, Twitter, and other platforms of all the sort of like anime fans reacting to it and being like, oh, this is like a decent. They've created one episode, so it's like a pilot episode, so to speak. So in the anime world, it's called an OVA, but it essentially is similar to like a pilot episode in any sort of TV series where, you know, you put one out, see how the reaction is, and then maybe a TV program pick it up and you can make it a series.
There are a lot of voice actors from One Piece, right?
A few, yeah, quite a few actually. Yeah.
That's insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just that as well, but yeah, like people who did voices and like Sailor Moon and yeah, quite a few of the ones, yeah, in like the first batch, I think. The character who does Jupiter, if I'm not mistaken, is part of it. And yeah, it's just a whole like series, like just seeing the whole list of the different characters that all the voice actors have done in the past. It's like, oh my god. None of the core team have ever made an anime before, not to this extent at least. So the director Ayaka, she's done sort of one-off animations where she's done all the art herself, created, you know, directed, done it herself, sort of like music video sort of scale, I think is the biggest she's done, or sort of like opening sequences for like YouTube channels, for example, but nothing to the scale. She isn't traditionally trained. She's done sort of like courses, I think, but her training is more in like motion graphics as well. And the rest of the team, they're not in any way in the anime industry. They've been fans, obviously, you know, being part of a project like this. So that's just like a huge thing, I think, especially with the anime industry here in Japan being such a traditional focused sort of industry where you need to go through like a certain path and even get to like a directorial role. You need like years of experience, but they're sort of throwing that, you know, upside down and doing this crazy new but exciting thing, having such a young director as well, an artist. She's female as well, which is also quite still to this day quite taboo. And there's just all these firsts that they're doing. The whole team is like super international. They literally cannot communicate with one another without ChatGPT and like interpreters and stuff, which is just everything on paper. It just sounds insane and is insane. Super bullish and super excited, and just want to do everything and anything I can to try and hype it up. So hopefully, if you watch this and you go, "Oh, that sounds interesting," it's like a futuristic, nostalgic 90s meets today anime. So they're using traditional cell animations, but also incorporating things like AI art and also a little bit of 3D as well, just to bring the world together. And it's just a fun looking piece. I obviously haven't seen it yet, so I can't shill it to the full, but I don't know, maybe reaction videos and stuff we should do from like an artistic perspective. Maybe we can do.
We can definitely do that.
We'll see.
But I love the background you shared though. Like it's so important to know what is going behind the scenes, and the fact that they are first at so many things, it changes a lot. There are so many people who want to do anime or something they think it's unachievable. When you are a fan of something and you believe in your dream and you put that actionable effort and you find other people, even like language is not a barrier.
Yeah, 100% agree. What's something fun you've been doing in the last week, 2 weeks? Anything? Are you making any art at the moment? I noticed you've been like posting a lot of like old pieces or like work in progress old pieces.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I'm starting to post old art. Still deserves to be honored. And I'm also, it's the whole exposure therapy thing. Whatever, like, let's just do that. And it's like a way for me to accept that this is, there is still beauty in these old pieces. And it kind of, this was unexpected, but it kind of got me inspired again in a way.
I love that. Yeah. How so? Like just posting it and people's reactions, or just the act of actually posting it?
I think the act of posting it and the mindset I had.
You've been doing so much sort of like character work over the past sort of 3 years or so, especially. And I love the sort of characters that you create. They're very, very different to other 3D artists. I've noticed that like there's like a theme almost, or like a way of creating characters that a lot of artists sort of just settle into. Maybe it's just because that's what we're used to seeing, but there's like a certain way or like a certain lighting or like a certain sort of like presentation that artists tend to like fall into. And I'm not saying that that's wrong or anything, but it becomes like a, oh, I've seen that almost, it's like a visual memory. Whilst with your art, it's like very new each time, which is what I love. And it's your strength. And it's what I think makes sense, especially in creating like character art and sort of, like pushing the boundaries every single time. So
that's so sweet. Sharing my art again is like trying to empower myself that, okay, this stuff are a strength in a way. You put it in such a such a great way, a great perspective.
I think with like having not having a direction, but having so many options, it's hard to like keep moving forwards all the time. So like having like this podcast being one of them, but having some like a purpose to just keep creating and just having that sort of not pressure so much, but having the direction taken off you a little bit helps you be a little bit more creative sometimes as well. Like I'm not necessarily saying that this will be that, but it's just good. And it can get quite exhausting like really quickly when you're like all the time you're like, what should I do next? What's the best next step for me? Every so often when someone's like, here's a competition, then you're like, oh, I will just fulfill and tick all the boxes for this competition. And yes, there's like 100% more, creativity within that, but it's still, there's like direction and there's like purpose as well. And you'll come out the other end with a finished product, which is also a big win that you can repurpose and show and share on social media and whatnot. So sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. Yeah, tell me about it.
It's like if we have an opportunity for something that will help us finish an artwork, we're like, let's go.
Yeah. Otherwise, the rest of the time we're like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, look at that, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna dig up that idea that I had from like 5 years ago. Like, not forever. It's like never ending. So it's just like how to keep going. But yeah, I love that for you.
I started being active on Farcaster, and
that.
Yeah.
What not changed your mind, but what led you to that?
Hmm.
I'm so curious.
I had many people kind of help me try embrace. I was
Mm.
really stubborn around not joining Forecaster, and it's been
Right.
completely different. Maybe
Hmm.
now it's completely different from how it was then as well,
True, true,
but
true.
I think the many people helped me and I kind of wanted to do it, but I was kind of scared, so I didn't. And I think the catalytic moment was like I did an interview with Jessie Fries. It was one of the topics. She asked me if
Okay.
I'm active on Farcaster. I told her no, and we also talked about visibility and fear and exposure and stuff like that. And I watched some sections and I reconnected. It was like the whole trajectory of I want to go to Farcaster. I'm like, I need to stop putting up excuses. I'm already in the process of trying to have fun and be
Mhm.
exposed and
Yeah.
just see what happens. So I'm like, fuck this, let's try, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's been a positive experience so far, but I'm still a newbie. I still don't know how a lot of things work. But I
Mm.
think compared to like X, there is more quality content. Like I don't feel my brain buzzing in a
Hmm.
bad way, like I don't feel
True,
that
true, true.
brain rot overwhelm. So I'm also curious, since you have been, I think, active, I don't know for how long now, but I'm curious to hear how your experience has been with Farcaster.
I haven't been too active either. So my previous job, which was at Restless, we had like a channel there and we had a few active community members on there. We were sort of like not moving our whole community there, but sort of building like a second space, I
Hmm.
guess, there. So that's kind of how I started. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid. I'll start going there as well. I didn't have much of a good start to start off with because I think back then Farcaster was more sort of engineer focused, sort of like devs and like UI UX creators.
Hmm.
It wasn't very creative, which there's nothing wrong with that because there's plenty of other platforms that focus
Hmm.
on creators, but it just felt like it wasn't for me, so I wouldn't really post that much. So it's on my list, especially for this month, to sort of like focus and like post more, especially using like Firefly and stuff. It's super easy to post on Farcaster. It's interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here onwards. With the revamp that they did, so they used to have a separate app called what called Wildcast, and
Hmm.
so you would be on Farcaster, but you need to use the separate app. And it was just very confusing, especially for new people. Whilst now it's all one, it's just you download Farcaster, you jump onto Farcaster, you connect your wallet, and that's it. Or you get them to make one for you.
Hmm.
It just makes a lot more sense. But yeah, a conversation we were having was how I think you mentioned it as well, but the algorithm is just a lot nicer, at least for now, on all the Web3 socials. With Web2 socials, I don't know what your feed is like, but it's just a horrible experience overall. You get fed information you don't need or you don't even want to see, and there's no choice. Not having that is very nice on all Web3 socials, and Farcaster seems to be one of the good ones
Hmm.
so far, just overall experience wise, people wise, active people wise, definitely. I think it's arguably the top right now, to be
Hmm.
honest.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
see
so.
how it goes. But yeah, something we were talking about is interesting to see where Web3 socials goes from here. At the moment, they've sort of like generalized, I think, is a point that Tiny was actually making, in the sense of Farcaster was not so creative before and
Hmm.
Lens was, but now they're both sort of like neutralized. So it's like, where is it going to go from here? I haven't been too active on there yet.
Hmm.
I want to, just to see where it goes from there, just to make more connections, like globally as well. to see
Mm.
where it all goes, because we just don't know.
Mm.
There's so much potential though.
I think you're going to enjoy like interacting
Mm,
more. Like I'm very much of a newbie. Compared
mm,
to most other socials, especially Web2, people are much more friendlier and
mm.
they reply even when you are no one. Like there are some very good people,
Yeah.
and they're willing to help. So
Mm,
I think it's worth it. It's
mm,
hard. Like I think it's always hard when you're a small account. If you find like at least four people that you just enjoy kind of like being around online and interact with them, it's the greatest insensitive for me. One of the reasons I really want to join Farcaster is because I miss so many stuff of my friends that they don't post on other socials. There is also a different way of socializing or like shared experiences and challenges that don't exist
mhm,
anywhere else. It's
mm,
a completely different vibe from
mm.
anything, any other social I've
Keep
experienced, which
feeling
is
that.
like very interesting. And I'd love to also have you there be more active, and I will be spamming you
Mm.
like constantly. So don't
Please, I'm
worry.
loving it. No, yeah, I love that comment you mentioned a little earlier about just having this is more to people who want to get started now, I guess, but having like four, maybe five people that you just go through and interact with. Eventually those people will start having like full on conversations with you. It's just building that community, right? And
Mm,
that's what social media was originally created to be, and that's the social media at least we remember, and how it was in its golden days, I guess, without sounding ancient. But we sort of like missed that. And as you mentioned, like Web3, I think, has it right, at least so far, in the sense of that sort of community building side, and the potential still there. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how we create, like
mm,
individually and together as well, create a community around sort of artists and creators and people who have similar hobbies and all the knickknacks that we love to do, all the millions of things that we love, and just creating like a community through that would be super exciting.